Besama Ab, where world where Mefeskadus Adawamla, Amen. Besama Ab, where world where Mefeskadus Adawamla, Amen. Besama Ab, where world where Mefeskadus Adawamla, Amen. Good morning, blessed love, this day. So straight in with the reading of Exodus 33. Give thanks. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Depart, go up from here, you and your people, that you have brought up out of the land of Egypt, to the land of which I have spoken and swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, saying, I will give it to your offspring. I will send an angel before you, and I will drive out the Canaanite, and the Amorite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite. Go to a land flowing with milk and honey, and I will go up among you, for you are a stiff-necked people. I will not go among you, lest I consume you on the way." When the people heard this evil news, they mourned, and no one put on his jewelry. Yahweh said to Moses, "Tell the children of Israel, you are a stiff-necked people, and if I would go up amongst you in one moment, I would consume you. Therefore, now take off your jewelry from you, that I may know what to do to you." The children of Israel stripped themselves of their jewelry from Mount Horeb onward. Now Moses used to take a tent and pitch it in the camp, far away from the camp, and he called it the tent of meeting. Everyone who sought Yahweh went out to the tent of meeting, which was outside the camp. When Moses went out into the tent, all the people rose up and stood, and everyone at the tent door, and watched Moses until he had gone into the tent. When Moses entered into the tent, the pillar of cloud descended, stood at the door of the tent, and Yahweh spoke with Moses. All the people saw the pillar of cloud stand at the door of the tent, and all the people rose up and worshipped, everyone at their tent door. Yahweh spoke to Moses face to face, as a man speaks to his friend. He turned again into the camp, but his servant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, didn't enter from the tent and didn't depart. Moses said to Yahweh, "Behold, you tell me, bring up his people, and you haven't let me know whom you will send with me. Yet you have said, I know you by name. You have also found favor in my sight. Now therefore, if I have found favor in your sight, please show me your way, now that I may know you, that I may find favor in your sight, and consider that this nation is your people." He said, "My presence will go with you, and I will give you rest." Moses said to him, "If your presence does not go with me, don't carry us out from here. For how will people know that I have found favor in your sight? I am your people. Isn't it that you go with us, so that we are separated? I am your people from all people who are on the surface of the earth." Yahweh said to Moses, "I will do this thing also that you have spoken, for you have found favor in my sight, and I know you by name." Moses said, "Please show me glory." And he said, "I will make all my goodness pass before you, and will proclaim Yahweh's name before you. I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will show mercy on whom I will show mercy." He said, "You cannot see my face, for man may not see me and live." Yahweh said, "Behold, there is a place by me, and you shall stand on the rock. It will happen when the glory passes by, that I will put you in a cleft of the rock, and I will cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will take away my hand, and you will see my back, but my face shall not be seen." Give thanks and blessed love. So, yeah, an interesting chapter here with Moses and God, Yahweh, and the kind of quite an intimate conversation, in the sense that is God telling Moses that he's not going to go with the people of Israel on the next part of the journey, and he's going to send an angel instead, because God's still angry with the people after they showed that idolatry and the making of the golden calf. So God is saying, I'm not going to go with you, because if I go with you, I'm going to probably consume you, meaning he'll probably kill them. And he says, you are a stiff-necked people. And he means that, he says that a few times, you're stubborn, you're stiff-necked. So God is still really disappointed. But then when the people hear this, and they actually, and again, it's the terminology that's interesting, because it says when the people hear of this evil, so they call it evil. But they're in mourning, they take off their jewelry, they don't wear their jewelry or any fine garments, because they're showing that they're upset with God not going with them on the next part of the journey. So God then goes back to Moses, other way around, Moses goes back to God and pleads with God and says, please go with them. If you don't go with them, how are they going to know that you are truly their God and you're truly have them in your heart? And God pleads with, I've done it again, Moses pleads with God to go with the people. And Moses is an intercessor. He's this intermediary person between people and God. And in the end, God agrees. And God says to Moses, you have pleaded well, and I show mercy, and you have shown favor. You have grown favor in my eyes, and I will go with you. So Moses has a tent, and he calls it the tent of meeting, on the edge of the camp. And that's where God's presence is, in the form of cloud. So whenever people go near the tent, they have to hold reverence. When they see Moses going into the tent, they all stand and worship. And when he comes out of the tent, they're eager to know what's been said. And it talks about, that Moses wants to see God beyond the cloud. But God says, if anyone sees my face, they will die. So you can only come so close. But Moses is the only one to see this cloud of God in its full essence, really. But the people know when the cloud is there. So they feel much more reassured. They feel much more confident that God is in their midst, because they need that. They need that reassurance. They need that kind of physical presence, if you like. So possibly after all the years they've been through, their confidence is slightly lacking. They need to see this evidence. So God is prepared to show his evidence, his presence in this cloud. But bearing in mind all the things that God has done, shown his presence, proven his presence, they're still wanting that reassurance. So what we're seeing here really is quite a vulnerable moment with the children of Israel, where their relationship with God has been broken. And it's broken in both ways. God's showing that his relationship with the people has been broken through their stubbornness and through their lack of belief. But the people feel slightly abandoned by God, and their trust in God has been broken. And Moses is in between, trying to kind of hold this relationship and trying to keep both sides happy, if you like. So it's a real testament, really, to the importance of these intercessor roles, and for that kind of communication, of trying to interpret and communicate God's word to the people, and trying to show and interpret the people's word and their wishes to God. So Moses holding these two things for one to understand the other. At this moment in time, God isn't fully understanding the people, and the people isn't fully understanding God. And really, Moses is the only one really holding that communication together and that relationship together. What we've also seen in the previous chapter, it wasn't mentioned here, but Aaron, Aaron was the lead priest with his sons, and fine robes were made for Aaron and the priests. But Aaron himself has disappointed God for not being strong enough to uphold his will and to make the golden calf, and to bend so quickly to the will of the people. So I think, Moses is really holding a lot at the moment, holding a lot of responsibility, doing a lot of the mediation. But as we've seen here on both sides, there's been a kind of a placation where God has seen Moses' point of view. And he's then said, okay, I will come with you on this next part of the journey. And the people have themselves have humbled themselves before God to show that he is the one and the only one that they praise. And, you know, within the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, you see parts of this tradition continuing, particularly with the fasting every Wednesday and Friday. Wednesday symbolic of the betrayal of Jesus by Judas, and it's symbolic of that, and the Friday is the symbolic of the crucifixion of Jesus. So it's about humbling oneself in the eyes of God, in the eyes of Jesus, to show that actually, yeah, there's a humbleness that goes on, but also, you know, that it works the other way around as well, because God gave his only begotten son to be crucified, and that himself is what is God showing the people that he is willing to make sacrifices in the eyes of the people. That is not just a one-way street. There's humbleness on both sides, and there's sacrifices on both sides. So yeah, I think this chapter is quite pivotal in showing that relationship and showing that mutual trust, that mutual respect, and that mutual humbleness, and that mutual kind of learning, really, between God and the people. And then we've got Moses in between. So yeah, fascinating, I think, series of messages. Again, when it comes to the New Testament, Moses is that intermediary between God and the people, and he's not only the sacrifice, but he's also that intermediary role that that Moses was occupying as well. So yeah, lots to think about. I think there. So yeah, give thanks. I will end it straight here. Just give thanks for the opportunity to read. Give thanks for the opportunity to even be able to be in a position to do this every morning. So thank you, any of you that are on this journey with me. And I give thanks, and I pray you all have a blessed day, and God willing, more tomorrow as we move forward to Exodus 34. Give thanks and blessings, love.